This stream was broadcast during the 2023 SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes. Without the labor of these talented artists, the stories we love would not exist, and our conversations about them would be impossible. For more information on how you can aid in the strike, click on the link in the description below.
Hello, my friends. It is Aldo, and welcome back to the Knights of the Nerd Republic. You know what to do, and stay profitable.
The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Going into space, mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secrets of the universe. It's all there. Life is fiery with its beauty, its incredible detail. Tuning into it, they want to shatter your mind. Talking about Justin Bieber. It's pure evil.
Hot damn. This was a fun episode. I'm excited to talk about it. I don't think it was my favorite of the season so far. We're going to unpack all of that. It was wonderful. It was very fun. First and foremost, before we talk about anything else, congratulations to these guys. I believe as of like an hour from now-ish, the WGA strike is over at last, and here's hoping that the wonderful people in SAG-AFTRA can reach a deal with the greedy-ass motherfuckers at the studios very soon as well. But in the meantime, it's time to talk about this episode of Ahsoka. We got our regulars in here. First of all, we have my, as I said before, unofficial co-host of this season. We have Eli from In a Galaxy.
Solidarity forever. We did it. WJ got a deal.
Yes, we are halfway there. We also have my actual co-host in most things, Case and Breon, with a little bit of a new setup here.
I got a boom arm, dude.
Looking
I
good,
feel
Casey.
so professional. It's crazy.
Hell yeah, brother.
I'm just put my camera on top of my monitor now instead of having it on a little like tripod guy.
I like it.
But
I like it. You look good.
Thank you.
You look good, babe.
Thank you.
And then we got Kyle in. So
Hello
how are we
there.
gonna do this, Kyle? I'm gonna give you some time up top, and then we're gonna cycle Buck in, just as I don't want to let this turn into a bit of a clusterfuck. But we got Buck on deck. So Kyle, while we have you, I'm gonna throw to you first, big dog.
All right.
How you feeling?
I definitely think this was, and I'm using this in the loosest terms, a weak episode, but that's like saying an A- on an A+.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I didn't dislike this episode.
Yeah.
You know, I think, again, I was on a call talking about it with some friends while I was getting set up. I don't think the episode was bad. And
Like it very much felt like it was just simply filling the time to get to something else.
part one. It's part one of a
Yeah.
finale. You know, I think
Yeah.
Trey Mitchell brought up of Skywalking Through the League and Mile High Cinema how Rebels would always do those big two-part finales. And this
Yeah.
felt like part one of those big two-part finales. The
Yeah.
only problem is that
It did.
part two is a week from now. So
Right.
like when you get those two-part finales back to back, it was really exhilarating.
Yeah.
But like splitting it
Like
up,
this is going to be something that I'm going to want to watch again right before the next episode drops.
with 8.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like not
I
to-
actually
100%.
felt a little.
Well, real quick, just as a programming note, nobody take this super to heart, Kason especially. Just because recording our episode this week is going to be really hairy on our end. At this point, I'm kind of considering doing like a two-part finale review next week. That I'm
Throw
not
that up.
fully made
Because
up.
this
my mind
definitely
on
felt
yet.
like so many loose things were left behind.
Yeah, and I don't want the
Because it
episode
kind of
to
felt
just-
like how, like, in season 3 of Rebels, like, remember how the final episode of season 3 was the battle of Adelon, and that was just sheer pandemonium.
Yeah, and like I said, I did really like this episode. There was a lot of cool shit. This episode.
Loved hearing Anthony Daniels again.
So this
God bless
episode
that
went
man.
on long enough that like I forgot that this was the same episode we got the Anthony Daniels C-3PO. Happy to say this word, cameo. That was a cameo, guys.
Yes,
And it was a
that
cameo
was a
that
cameo.
worked.
That was a
maybe.
function.
It's. I feel like it's a bit big for a cameo, but yeah, it's a cameo. Yeah,
Well,
sure.
that's what I'm saying. The example I always give is, people talk about Mando season 2, like, oh, it's a cameo every week. No. Matt Murdock.
C-3PO in Rogue One was a cameo.
Sure, Matt Murdock has a cameo in Spider-Man No Way Home. He moves the plot forward, but it's still a cameo.
Yeah.
Because he comes in as an attorney to help Peter with his legal trouble so you can move
Yep.
the plot along.
Yep.
That could have been any attorney. You added a little extra sauce by it being Daredevil. You know
Right.
what
Yeah.
I mean? Same thing.
And even
here.
with and even Hayden's appearance was a cameo in the episode.
Like, it has an emotional resonance to it.
Yeah.
But like, and I mean, I think with Hayden, because he had so much play a couple episodes ago, that it's more of an extension of his appearance he already had.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
functionally,
Yeah.
3PO here, that could have been some page boy for the Senate.
Yep.
That could have
Yeah,
been
it could have been
another
Leia's
droid.
intern.
It could
Like,
have
it could have
been.
been-
Anybody who works for Leia. It could have been anyone
Yeah.
who works for Leia.
It could have
But it
been
was
fucking
3PO.
R2.
But as soon as you started hearing him going, oh, in the background, you're like, oh, you know who's intervening at this situation.
Yeah. But that was a cameo. Just like I'm trying to think of another good example. Ryder Azadi.
Yeah.
Ryder-
Ryder Azadi in part 1.
Yep.
I just want to say, because I know I often like get angry when people throw that word around meaninglessly.
To me, a
Like, this
cameo
is what you
is
can call a fucking cameo.
Yep. Is less than 2 minutes of screen time. They only appear once, maybe twice, and that's it.
Was that Ninum? Was that Ninum?
I don't think it was Nyan Num, because
I don't think it was Nine Numb, but I would believe that was Akbar.
I think it was Akbar,
I-
but I didn't get sick to
think
my
it was
stomach, so it
Akbar.
wasn't Nyan Num.
What?
I hate fucking Nyan Num. I hate him. The best part of the Rise of Skywalker is when he dies a horrible fucking death on Exegol.
Okay.
I mean that
What?
shit.
And that's Jared's take on that.
That's my take on that.
That's my take on that.
I also, just real quick, I want to throw back to Kyle just so he can speak before we keep kind of cycling here. Eli, can you move a little bit to your right? Okay, I was wrong. Your left. Okay, is it just me, or does like Thrawn in the back of that mural look like someone took like a really close 0.5 picture of him?
Yes,
Yeah,
someone
I
definitely
agree.
0.5 his ass for that.
So I did.
I know
You're saying I
that's
did,
the book
basically.
covers. I know it's the book covers next to
Yeah.
each other, but it looks like
Yeah.
like someone's just like, this is Thrawn. Anyway, sorry.
He's staring
Anyway,
up
Kyle,
into the camera.
continue your thoughts before we kind of steamrolled your bud.
Yep. I also like that Mon Mothma clearly is taking this situation seriously. It's just that she's stuck
Yeah.
with the fucking bureaucracy,
Yeah,
which is the same situation she was stuck in Rogue One, when all the senators were like, "We shouldn't attack Scarif," and then as soon as Rogue One goes off to do it, she's like, "Oh, look at that, let's go."
yeah,
And I have a feeling that's going to be the same situation here.
absolutely. Well, I love the way that that Hera really got a chance to motherfuck Ziono.
Oh,
Like,
fuck him.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got to with
Yes.
her whole chest be like, listen here.
Like, I get that he wasn't on Hosnian Prime when it got blown up. If you haven't seen Resistance, spoiler alert.
He
But
was
at the same
not.
time, I hope
Should've been, but he wasn't.
I hope that cast chewed him a new asshole when he got back.
Yeah, I
You
I
knew
love-
this was gonna happen.
I love seeing
Yeah.
Hamato in this this story. It's fantastic. I love the recognition that Resistance is getting. Fuck that guy.
Fuck him. His son is so much better.
I was saying on a call with Buck before. I'm like, thank God the apple fell as far from that tree as possible.
Oh, the apple fell from the tree, then got kicked about 50 miles down the road.
yeah,
Thank freaking God.
Sorry, I got to text
Yeah.
back real quick.
Also, what is Balin up to at this point?
I
It-
don't know. I am
it-
very curious on that one. Here, I'm not.
Question
I'm
I was
not going to
asking
keep
this
Buck
entire
waiting for too
episode.
much longer. Here we go.
Hi, Buck.
What's up?
Legitimately, Jared, this is how much of an impression you've given. Is that like every time Balin shows up on screen now, it's just like, okay, Jared's gonna think about this one? What's Jared gonna think about this one?
Yeah.
He's just so fucking on one.
So one of the things that I think is interesting is we still have one final shot from the trailers. Just one.
Oh,
What is it?
I know which one you're talking
Thrawn.
about.
Oh, on the
It's
eye.
Thrawn on the Eye of
Scion.
Sion in orbit over Peridia. Like it's in the atmosphere there. So I'm very curious to see where this ends. Like, because I have a feeling there's almost no way this is resolved. I definitely feel like Thrawn is leaving.
Oh yeah.
I think that he's definitely going to be leaving Balin and Shin behind.
It's time we get the hell out of Dodge.
But I think Balin and Shin are going to be left behind with Ezra.
I'd believe that too.
Ahsoka and Sabine.
Yeah.
Balin,
At this point.
yes. Finn, maybe.
Okay, so first off,
We'll see.
y'all,
They have to get back.
I know I have been fucking. There's no other term for it, and I apologize for how crass this is. I have been meat riding Balin Skulls so fucking hard this entire show.
Yes, you have. Please don't tell me you were
And-
rooting for him in the second duel. Please do not tell me that.
Of course I was. Fuck you.
Yeah, he was. Like, yeah,
uh,
I know my friend. He was.
He
dude,
does so
Ahsoka may be on my shirt, but enigmatic dark Jedi who want to break cycles. That's where my heart is. Listen, I've been a big Balin Skull fan this whole show. If Shin Hati is about to become a dark Jedi Vegeta, in the
don't know
way
what
that
that
they're
means.
framing her, like kind of like going from team bad guy to okay, fine, I'll be your friend, to slowly becoming one of the homies. If they're gonna give her the Vegeta
Oh,
treatment,
that's not the vibe I got from her. I got at all. I thought
No.
that
No.
not yet, but like they might. They
She
might.
paused
Yeah,
for a
they might.
minute when Ahsoka was
Yeah.
like, surrender your weapon, I can help you. She was literally like, ooh, do I do that?
I
do
think
that?
it was on the table. I think it was on the table. I definitely think it was on the
Yeah.
table.
Like I said, I'm not necessarily saying she will become the Star Wars Vegeta, but it
But it's
could
possible.
happen, and I'd be
I
into it.
said this. Well, I said this to a bunch of people earlier. I do hope that one of the two, Balin or Shin, has a redemption arc.
Yes.
I could go for that. I
least.
could totally go for that.
At least.
I
at
think
least one of the two.
earlier in the season I said Balin seemed to be going down the way, but now it seems like Shin would be the more likely one.
Well, I think the interesting thing with Shin's like potential face turn is that for Shin, you know those
Cookie Top's
memes.
gonna be destroyed.
You
Cookie
know,
Top's gonna be destroyed, and the power over Shin's gonna be gone.
you know those memes where like they're clearly like text memes on 4chan where it's like blank enters blank does blank does this, offers no explanation, leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Those memes, like
Yeah.
the further into the show, the more Balin Skull is just kind of like saying some buck wild shit and then walking out of
With Shin just looking increasingly baffled as to what
Yeah,
he's
like,
saying.
everyone-
She's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I know I talked about it last week because of Captain Enoch, but like Balin is more and more reminding me of Mike Doling, who will walk into a room, look at you, and be like, "Ride the eyes of the dragon," and then tell me who you think you are, and then leave like you were supposed to understand that. Like that's
There's
who
a certain-
Balin is
there-
turning into, and I kind of fucking
There's
love
a
it.
certain respect where I don't even know if Balin knows what Balin's doing.
I'm curious though about the relationship between those two now, because I'm beginning to think he doesn't have the emotional attachment to her that I think like Ahsoka or any of the Jedi we've seen have had to their Padawans.
That's
He's
an
just
interesting
like-
idea. I
He
interpreted
bailed
that
on her.
as like a.
I
He did.
I mean, I
He
don't.
just
Okay,
threw out a problem
let's
and was like, "If you win, that's great. If you don't, then I'll
let's
deal with it."
unpack this. He says to her one parting piece of wisdom. Did that
Yeah.
mean because he's like, you take your place in the new empire,
Yeah.
and here's a part of like parting wisdom. Here's a piece of parting wisdom. Was that him saying, "Hey, take it easy. See you on the
Yeah.
other
I
side,
think in his
maybe"?
own.
Like,
It
was
seems
that
like-
him peacing out? Was that a goodbye, or was that just like a, "Hey, we're gonna go like do different parts of this mission real quick"?
I think that he
hold down the
I think
fort
whatever.
over here. I'm gonna distract Tano.
I have side quests that I gotta go do.
But
Actually,
she doesn't
so I'll be
know
right
what
back.
his plan is.
No.
She doesn't
Yeah,
know what his plan is.
doesn't.
She has
no idea what his
clue.
plan.
That's
And that's why I think he
felt like a
doesn't really
goodbye to
care
me.
for her.
I don't think anyone knows at this point because remember, Elsbeth and Thrawn were like, "Where the hell's Balin?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the idea, at least how I interpret it with Balin and Shin, was that Balin like there it's again if we want to do the if we want to do the dark reflection of Qui-Gon, or in this case Qui-Gon's Padawan, Obi-Wan idea, there's that line that Obi-Wan says to Luke in New Hope, where before he goes off to shut off the tractor beam, my dad lives on a different path than yours. I think he recognizes that, like, if he finds what he's looking for, whatever that may be, then that's great, and he might see Shin again. But there's a chance that won't happen. So he recognizes that he has his part to play, and Shin has hers.
But the thing that makes it, I'm sorry, you're making a fantastic point. That is a great connection. The thing that is so deeply fucking funny to me about that is that, like, to me, my interpretation of that is the moment they land on the Death Star and Obi-Wan knows Anakin is there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Obi-Wan, it's like, especially with like the way he says that to Luke, I think Obi-Wan knows he's not leaving here as a physical being within the physical world. He knows that he knows he's going to die. Be it because Vader beats him or he sacrifices himself to get them the fuck out. Obi-Wan goes in there knowing I'm not gonna live.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's something really funny about Balin being like,
it is.
"Hey man, I know I haven't told you jack rib shit. And I don't even know when the fuck I decided I was gonna be on some boot gang shit out in the middle of buttfuck nowhere."
Well, I think that's the distinction between Balin and Shin, and
the fucking trees on Peridia are talking to me, Shin. I gotta go
There's
do
her-
some shit. Stick tight.
I think Balin is on something at this point.
I don't know what the fuck
I
the
think
plan
that-
is. It's
Balin,
getting
like,
funnier and funnier the more and more you realize
like-
Shin doesn't have any fucking clue what this man's up.
But to that point, I think that, like, we've caught all these homages. We've caught all these to saga films before with the entrance of Balin and Shin in the very first episode, the very first thing we see being a dark inverted version of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan at the beginning of Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
But it's not as like, and I'm not saying this to disparage this. I'm saying this like, and I love that this is this way. It's not as cool as Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. It very much feels like Balin and Shin are trying to be they're trying to be the dark side version of Jedi, but they're failing because that just doesn't really work.
Right. What does he say last week? He trained. He trained her. She wasn't a Boken Jedi.
More
He trained
than
her to be something more than that. And
Yeah, I
what
trained
is
you into
it, though?
something
Like-
more.
Yeah.
I trained you
What
into
does it even
something
mean?
more, and
she's like, what?
What does it even
And-
mean?
I think it's
And
just
I'm like,
because he
go
thinks
ahead,
the Jedi
Balin.
were deeply flawed, which I mean they ended up
Yeah,
being deeply
go ahead.
flawed.
Go ahead and think that, but if you're just going to get to a place where you're like, okay, so I'm gonna just peace out now, and you're gonna go fight Ahsoka Tano, and you're gonna fight Ezra Bridger and Sabine Wren. Good luck with that. See ya. Like, you're not a good master. You're not a good
No.
teacher.
Yeah,
Regardless
he's
of
just
what
like,
you
have
might
fun,
play
kid, catch on the
yourself.
flip
But
side.
again, I'm sorry though. Let's not pretend that, like, a master like Loden Greatstorm wasn't pushing motherfuckers out of like airborne speeders either, though. Like I do
Yeah,
think
but that's-
Balin
I think
from that dark
there's
side
different.
perverted place is like you can fucking take them.
But
like-
Loden made sure that there were safeguards in place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
any
that's
of
a
those
kind of
instances.
She has
experiential.
that dog in her. Like I'm
Does
not.
she though?
Yeah, she does.
But Balin, this wasn't a temporary goodbye to Shin. This felt more permanent.
It felt more
This-
permanent, but I also don't know what Balin has been talking about for the last 3 episodes.
No.
Like, it's part of why I love him. Like, he is
Yeah.
like spitting facts and just like saying the most fascinating shit for this entire show. Fuck, even in this episode where Ahsoka's like disappointed I'm alive, he's like, no. Cool. And it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck do you want me to do with that, man? Like, what the
she's like
He's
been so used to people like Asajj Ventress.
Yeah,
and
she was waiting
Count
for
Dooku
some
and
biting,
Grievous.
Jedi scum. And he's
Well,
just like,
yeah, but
oh, I'll
as-
be
as-
damned.
as-
Hey, how you doing?
as Balin said in I think this was either 1 or 2, he doesn't want to kill Ahsoka. He
No.
doesn't want to like he doesn't like he has the only reason why he's doing any of this is because Ahsoka is standing in the way of what he wants. We don't know what
Right.
it is yet, but of whatever it is, what he wants. And there that second duel between them was so like it carried this air of just melancholy sadness because you could sense that neither of them really wanted to do this right now. Ahsoka because she wanted to get to Sabine, and Balin because he clearly like wanted to go after whatever thing he was going after.
Yeah,
and
that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I didn't get the melancholy, but I totally see what you're getting at there. What I really loved about Ahsoka v Balin round 2 was that there's this fun moment, real quick, throwing back to when they're on the ship and Ahsoka's doing her little katas in the training room. I love that Ahsoka, being the veteran duelist that she is like, I'm not gonna lose to a motherfucker the same way twice. So what does she do? She gets in there, and the drills she's running are to make sure that she can get all up in Balin Skull's shit.
Yep.
And not let him dictate the terms of the fight by keeping her at a distance with his, overwhelming physical strength. So she's like, what I'm going to do is get all up in his grill. And I love that the moment they start throwing blades, that's exactly what happens. He, for the first time watching them fight, is on his back foot. He dominated. Yeah. He stage managed the fight on Cetos. Here on Peridia, Ahsoka's all up in his shit. He almost gets his throat slit, like he's oh shit, at one point during the fight. And it's the first time I thought this was interesting because, you see Balin try to get in her head where he's like, the legacy of you and your master is one of death and destruction. Where like he meant that shit. He meant that shit. He caught her hand physically. And that was the first time you saw him start doing the dark sider. Not I'm in your head, but like just shit talk. Like that was just shit talk where he was like, you can't beat me, right? Where it's like, motherfucker, you almost died 5 times in the last 10 seconds.
Which is definitely a sign of his fear, right? Like,
I think Balin's like, oh, fuck.
And of course, barring the sparring details, which of course are extremely important, but that moment, which I thought was so quintessentially Jedi, and where Ahsoka like locks blades with him, and then Hu Yang does the bombing run with the ship as a distraction, which gives Ahsoka time to escape. I thought that was like again, they're going back to, apparently this is just a thing for me now. Obi-Wan and A New Hope. You can't win, but there are alternatives to fighting.
And Ahsoka in Shadow Warrior. Like she, like I think there's something too. Again, Star Wars
and Luke and TLJ.
It's also indicative of the way that Ezra chooses to fight in this episode as well, right? Like he's like,
that was so cool.
Like I'm going to trust on the Force. Like it's all those things
that
again.
Was so like I swear to God, I want Ezra to get his motherfucking lightsaber back because I do want to see him do for any Galaxy of Heroes players flourish.
Yeah.
I want him to flourish in live action.
Also known turning Ezra into a Raytheon knife missile.
Anyway,
On that note.
but I was gonna say that where Ezra was like, no, keep it, and then he's like, I got the Force, and I said out loud to myself while watching that, for my ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is. I'm like, and just watching him fuck those stormtroopers up using nothing but the Force and his bare hands, it was so like that felt so Ezra to me. It's
literally the actor
all over again.
has so nailed Ezra absolutely perfectly in every possible way.
It is the most seamless animation to live action transition I've seen for any of the characters with different actors, and I'm not making hyperbole. I'm not exaggerating by saying that. It is Iman gets Ezra. He gets it.
You can tell Iman must have watched all of Rebels 5 or 6 times.
Oh yeah,
copious
he did his homework.
Yeah.
He did his homework.
He did.
Oh,
Jason, you were
easily.
gonna say?
He was. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Craig?
On the note of
Like my
Ezra's
tweet.
lightsaber and that whole
tweet.
thing.
Oh my fucking God! You like my tweet?
Did like
Eli,
You like mine too.
Let Kaysen speak.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, on the note of Ezra's lightsaber, listen, the whole time, as soon as Huyang's like this again, and Ahsoka's like, yeah, this again, and she's like, I'm about to just fucking jump out this bitch. As soon as she starts walking toward the back, I was like, motherfucker, if you are not about to go in that training room and just grab a rando lightsaber off the goddamn wall of them that you have and give it to this man, I'm gonna shit myself. And then she didn't do that, and I shit myself. I was like, how did we miss this? Like, we could have easily just been like, yo, hey, Ezra, here's the new lightsaber.
Were there any Easter eggs in those lightsabers? I'm like, I
think they're all training sabers. They were all like generic.
Yeah.
Like I don't think any of them.
Using.
Yeah.
Also, she didn't know what happened, Ezra.
That's fair, but I mean, it would be fair to assume he's unarmed. But like,
well, I mean, she knows that Sabine has Ezra's lightsaber because that's all Sabine.
Exactly.
Sabine's so fucking hung up on it. She's like, "That's not mine. I have imposter syndrome."
No, I mean, like he could be dead, is what I mean.
Oh yeah,
like,
but I just
for all
she already she passed over them and already saw them though.
Yeah, when she does her crazy fucking real fucking quick. Yeah. That fucking jump out of the ship is so funny.
Yeah.
This episode, like now that I'm talking about it, I'm realizing this was like the unintentionally hilarious episode of the season. Well, like, and it wasn't again, it was not bad by any means, but between Balin just like saying the most like foreboding shit and then walking out of the room, the entire episode, and then like Ahsoka, like it's so funny because like she jumps out. And at first it's like, is she gonna Batman this shit? Is she gonna like Tony Hawk like rail grind on the fucking rocks? Is she gonna like just slide down the whole time, Cal Kestis style? And for a second it's like, oh, she's gonna slide like Cal. And then she, regardless, just kerpow, like does this like crazy fucking roll down a hill.
And this ship is going at like 300 miles per hour, I'm guessing. Just hurtling across the ground.
I don't know if there's any version of her like making a crazy exit like that wasn't going to be unintentionally funny. Like if she Batmaned out of the fucking Jedi shuttle, like with her cloak, and like just fucking Arkham Knighted her way.
That would be fucking crazy.
We would be talking about it for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that would be a bit goofy. Like
fuck Anakin Skywalker, fuck C-3PO, fuck Grand Admiral Thrawn, fuck Ezra Bridger.
Fuck Ezra Bridger, yeah.
Bad Ahsoka.
Batman Ahsoka. Batman Jedi Knight. Like down the fucking thing. But
I can hear Thrawn already. They fly now.
Batman.
Oh my god.
They fly
now. It would appear that they fly now. Get me a holocron with the information on aerodynamics. Anyway,
yes.
Morgan is this. Are we really doing this?
Somehow I returned. Anyway,
somehow.
No, but this episode was a lot of fun. I can't
It
stop
was
thinking
fun.
about. I'm sorry. I just keep giving.
Also,
myself
did you
crap.
notice that for a split second when she jumped out, it switched to horrifically bad CGI?
I was too busy laughing at just the choice that was made there.
Like,
that I
just the
didn't
way
notice
she
the
jumped out, like,
CGI.
it looked like it was, like, 1995 Toy Story animation for a split second.
I didn't notice that. I'll have to look for that.
Did
on a
not catch
rewatch.
that.
I normally am also not very discerning when it comes to CGI stuff like that. 9
Yeah,
times out of
me
10, I
neither.
don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
if I'm being
fair.
quite honest, 9
Yeah,
times
like,
out
that
of
whole
10,
scene was just probably one of the goofiest things I've seen.
I
I
think
mean,
the
it was-
only time I noticed the CGI was with the Purrgil coming out of hyperspace. Like, something about the lighting on that was a little off.
the
but-
lighting was weird. I also was just like, oh, like they're making whales come out of hyperspace in live action. This is gonna look fucking funky, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, for the most part, kerfunkafucky. I normally don't mind CGI stuff. Like sometimes if it's like egregiously bad and you can't help but notice it, like there's one thing. But normally, like I'm more invested in like the story that's being told. That like CGI related things just they don't fucking bother me. I
Doesn't
don't
matter.
care. And again, some people like that's part of their rubric that affects their enjoyment. You know, to each their own. For me, like I am less bothered by strange.
Right. Like I said, I
effects
noticed
and
it.
choices.
It didn't really bother me.
Yeah.
I think
I
the
will
only
say this is
you talk
okay. Go
shit,
ahead.
bud.
Sorry. I was gonna say the one thing I was like, this is such a nitpicky thing for me for this episode, but there was one thing that like was just I just heard and I'm like, really? We're doing this? It's when it's when they're in the debris field, and Hu Yang says we're gonna get pulverized if we stay out here much longer, which is exactly what Leia says in the asteroid field.
Okay, I was about to say that's direct, right?
Yeah.
It is completely direct. I just checked it. It's completely direct, and
Okay.
I'm like, that's a weird thing to do. I guarantee you, Dave knew when he was writing it that Leia said that in Empire. It just felt odd. Again, it's not something that bothers me and like a ton or anything. I just saw it and I'm like, oh, okay, interesting.
You know what? My counterpoint to that, I think it would be very funny if Dave Filoni accidentally did that. I think it would be very
it would
funny if Dave Filoni is just so just profoundly and terminally Star Wars brained that he's like accidentally writing Empire Strikes Back dialogue and he doesn't even notice it.
Oh, absolutely. That would make it 100 times funnier. But until I get confirmation either one way, I'm gonna assume that he knew what he was doing because
Which is the safest assumption, which makes more sense.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Buck?
I was say we were talking about Huang, so that made me think of like we were all worried about like the fate of Ezra and Sabine, but Huang does have that line about I hope
I sure hope I don't die.
Right, basically where I hope I don't die, and basically is what he says. He's like, I hope I live long enough to see this reunion. And I was like, I was literally just shouting. I was like, you better not fucking kill him off. I will be so
like
mad.
imagine if the episode just ends like just seeing the ship land down, then it just explodes.
I was literally afraid they were going to shoot the ship right at the last second. Like I was so scared.
Yeah, but now I'm scared
Just
that
put
he's
Razor
going to be the one
Crest
that
on
makes
it.
the sacrifice.
What's that?
Now I'm scared that he's the one that's going to make the sacrifice next week.
I hope it's not him.
I really hope it's not.
I don't hurt.
But like, we know what they do with these things. They're like,
I
oh, I hope I don't die,
honestly-
and then they're like, oh,
I just
48
I
hours
would-
later,
I would-
motherfucker's dead.
No offense to Hu Yang, I would be fine with it just because it would
Saves
mean,
everybody else.
Hopefully, it hopefully means that my baby boy Ezra Bridger gets to return home.
Same. That's like the only thing
if
that's
they
like.
hurt another hair on his fucking head.
Yeah, I was gonna say he lost a couple today.
I was gonna say close, as he says, close.
So,
which by the way was the moment like I liked Ezra a lot, Iman's portrayal of Ezra, but when Shin like put her blade over his head and singed a few hairs, and Ezra went close. I'm like, yeah, he nailed it. He nailed it. He knows what he's doing. He's got it.
Yeah. Also, in that whole thing, like, I don't know. I feel, from what we've seen of Balin, I feel like he is an honorable dude, a former Jedi. So, like, I feel like he's kept some of that honor and that integrity. But then you go to Shin, and especially in this moment where she's just like, "Oh, there's the dude. I'm just gonna walk up to him and fucking whack his head off." Like,
cut his fucking head off from behind.
Balin would have been like, Ezra Bridger, and would have, like, you know, park and bark, like the whole Anakin thing, like you talked about, Jarod. And like the fact that Shin is just like, oh, that's the target. Like, she's just straight assassin mode, 100%. And like, it kind of bothered me.
She's been playing video games, just go run up and start hitting people.
I was like, it kind of bothered me, but then I was like, that's her. What should do her thing, whatever.
I mean, hey, you know, it's the difference between like an assassin rogue and like an oathbreaker paladin. You know, like one of them is like still like there's some amount of decorum there. The other one is a killer and is a trained killer. And I totally agree with that. And I feel that. I just real quick with the Hugh Yang stuff. I know there are some people who don't much care for how Dave Filoni writes things. Most of that, in my opinion, I think is a product of just being not an enjoyable person. I'm sorry. I've read too many fucking articles.
I'm going to send him this clip. Is what I'm going to do.
I'm not talking about Chris. I'm not talking about Chris. I have read too many fucking articles in the last month or so that are just describing the show existing and then calling it a plot hole or bad without explaining any of that opinion.
So many.
And they're all wrong.
All of them are wrong. All of them are intentionally wrong. It requires
that. Blissfully ignorant of a lot of them, so thank God my Twitter algorithm's working. But yeah, they're all wrong. I haven't seen any of them, and I can tell you they're all wrong.
Well, and again, like 2 weeks
I
ago,
am convinced at this point that these people are seeing a different show.
Well, I mean, there's also money to be made by saying that the only good Star Wars is Andor, which is also maddening and lessens the quality of that show.
But Jarod,
the Andor is better than I know. Hold on. I don't.
You know, we've been over this.
I don't agree with the like blind Dave Filoni makes things that people like, therefore it must be bad. However, if Hu Yang does not make it out after basically looking at the camera and saying, "Gee, I hope I don't die."
Yes.
Funniest fucking thing in Star Wars ever. You never have anybody say shit like that. You'll get like retroactively something like Obi-Wan, like Eli brought up, like, you know, your destiny is on a different path than mine.
There's a moment in this episode where, you know, like, oh, at least the per girl taking some of the cover. And then as soon as she says, Hugh Yang says that, they go into hyperspace, and he's like, "You just had to say
it."
Right?
I will push back on that. There is actually. You remind me of an episode of Star Wars: The Clone Wars where something like that legitimately actually does happen. Let's look. I'm gonna quickly look up who wrote that episode. The episode is "Landing at Point Rain." It was written by Brian Larson and Drew Greenberg. But my point was. My point was in that episode. What's going on, Trey? In that episode, there's a clone who's flying down in an LAAT carrier, and you know they're flying down to Geonosis to try and recapture the planet from Poggle and his evil machinations. And a clone goes, "Good thing those bugs can't aim," and this shuttle immediately blows up.
Yes.
Okay. Again, I understand
very common trope, right?
That is a
very common trope.
That is one clone in a 7-season long TV show. I'm talking about a named main character in this show. Not doing oh, hey, he's the new guy. Oh, he's about to retire. Like none of like the fun like cop movie tropes. Hugh Yang literally just says, "Gee, I hope I don't die." Like,
you just know the Grim
Dave
Reaper's
Filoni has the
just like you
opportunity
called.
to do the funniest fucking thing ever. Is all I'm saying, and I don't want anything bad to happen to Hugh Yang. He's one
love
of
that
my
droid way
favorite
too much.
droids. But
Yes.
as
He has skyrocketed to like top 3 for me. I love
He's
that.
great. And here's
Wasn't he
another
only
reason,
only
by
a
the way.
few episodes of the Clone Wars, and now he's like
The one
become
arc.
like one of the main?
3. It's 3.
One,
It's
three?
3.
Okay.
3.
Yeah.
this one,
But I mean,
one
Um,
arc, it is set the
yeah.
tone. Sorry,
Yeah.
Buck, what were you
I was
gonna
going to
say?
say, here's
No, I'm
the
saying, like,
other
he's-
reason why I'm not as bothered by Hu Yang's demise. Because Hu Yang has been around in this galaxy for over 25,000 years. There are so many stories to tell with this guy.
It would be so sad for him to die in this story. That's
Yeah.
why I would get really annoyed with, because I'm like, this does not seem like the let's kill off Huang story.
Well, I feel like they'd find his memory core and put him in another droid and just be like, okay, moving on.
He's been really proud of the fact that he has 75% original parts. Like, it would suck to like do.
Oh,
that
he'd be
to him.
unhappy as hell, but they'd probably
Yeah.
do it.
You know, but you could have
That-
a beautiful moment with him where it's like, I guess it's time to begin again. Where
Oh,
like
okay.
everybody in the show has kind of had this like metamorphosis of like, okay, like I kind of have to learn to start over. So I think that kind of would be beautiful if Huang gets blown to fucking hell.
I will cry. I'm letting you know right now. I will cry.
Me too.
It won't be
I'm just
Kanan
saying,
level of crying. It'll be there will be tears.
but it'll be real fucking funny after I'm done crying.
If I have to watch David Tennant die twice in a year, I'm gonna be very mad. Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not gonna- No.
But no, that was great. That was a lot of fun. And then again, the Ezra stuff without the lightsaber.
I'm proud of him. I'm not gonna lie. I'm proud of him.
Impressive. It was very impressive.
Same.
I mean, he's clearly been surviving for a long time with the amount of Stormtrooper dog tags he had.
But
Yeah.
it's a carryover of the lessons that of all of Rebels. It's how the Jedi choose to fight that is important, and it's how he's choosing to fight. He's like, I'm throwing down the lightsaber. I put it aside.
To Kyle's point, he has been using his survival skills and his Jedi skills to survive on Peridia for this long. He is a Jedi survivor.
Oh man.
Oh,
Did he just say that and leave?
No, I
Or did you
not.
kick him?
he kicked him.
Okay.
Buck was like, I know what he did.
Dipped, and I was like, wait a minute.
No,
I mean,
did
that
like
is interesting though. Because like we're getting all
Because
these
he's
things
been
that we can-
protecting
like,
the naughty for years at this point.
Yeah,
Also, speaking of the Noti, I like the little cat noises they make.
me too.
Yeah, they're pretty great.
Yeah, like, they like
So
keep the little door
cute.
open. They're like, meow.
I can go either way. I really do like the moment where Ezra's like, "No, that's your lightsaber now. The Force is my ally." I do really like that moment. I do also like. I want to see him also take up a lightsaber again because on some
Yeah, I
level,
do too.
because on some level,
I feel like eventually he will do it.
you're gonna
Like
have
either
to. You're gonna have to. You know.
Again,
If
Flourish,
Thrawn makes it to
Flourish.
our galaxy and they all get back home, I don't think there's a story in which he doesn't pick it up. Like I think he's going to be forced
although
to for a period.
maybe,
For a period.
maybe the saber stays with Sabine
Oh,
and
yeah.
he
I'm
goes to
expecting a new
Ilum
lightsaber.
to make a new one.
Oh yeah,
Going to where? Going to where again?
yeah. Where was
Ilum?
that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think he's
And
going to
what's
be
going
going
on
to
with
Star
Elam
Killer
right now?
space right now.
About that.
oh no.
What do you mean?
He's playing dumb. Stop.
No,
It's
I'm
funny.
not. I'm legitimately not. Like
Star
I'm trying to
Killer
figure
Base.
out,
Star Killer Base. Star
yeah,
Killer
it's not being
Base.
built now.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is. It's being built in
Yeah.
Fallen Order.
You literally just brought up Cal Kestis, and you're going to tell me that it's not being built right now?
Yeah, those
Like,
trenches were already being
My
done.
brother in Christ, boot up Fallen Order and go to Ilum right now.
I know that Star Killer is being built in Fallen Order. I was just questioning like the progress of that. Like,
I don't
Right,
think
but-
it would be safe for him to go. I mean,
It
hey,
would not.
there's a temple on Lothal. He got his first Kyber crystal on Lothal.
on the
That.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I didn't forget about Starkiller Base. I was wondering, like, I didn't think the First Order had formed enough to like be doing their shit with that. And
I
obviously
think
the Empire
has just quietly been working on that the whole time. I
Yeah.
think with the Empire, like in the same way that they were able to like, oh shit, the Death Star got blown up, and it's going to take us like a fraction of the amount of time it took
I
to
thought-
build the second Death Star.
They were being built simultaneously.
they were being built simultaneously.
They were being
yeah.
built. I thought that was.
Yeah,
I
that
couldn't
wasn't that the
remember how
whole
it was
point
in
of
Legends.
Catalyst? Wasn't that part of Catalyst?
I'm pretty sure they were being
I
built
didn't read
simultaneously, but I
Catalyst.
don't remember.
Ooh, I say read it. It's a really good book. Not just
I-
because like you need to read everything. That's one of my favorites.
I love Lucino,
That's a good
but
one.
I'm not I wasn't invested enough in Rogue One really to like
I
get
forgot.
it.
I forgot
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
amongst the Rogue One haters.
So, but no, I
Based.
mean that's fair. I didn't read Catalyst, but like also the Legends logic of like, oh, it took them forever to figure out like this specific part of it, and then or whichever what I don't remember. I remember for a while the explanation was the hard part was the fucking laser. The
Yeah.
easy part was building like the skeleton of a battle station.
Yes.
They just didn't know how to build the planet killer yet. I
Right.
kind of always assumed the same logic was the case with Star Killer. That they were like, okay, like we, once we figure out how to do this on a small scale, we'll do it on a larger scale. And
But
the
we know it
easy
takes them
part,
another 25 years to turn that thing on.
yeah. So like it would make sense for them to be like, okay, like we can build this planet into a super weapon. We'll just get to the weapon part later. We'll just in the meantime like entrench it and create this like weird military infrastructure here. But no, I think if Ezra were able to go back to Lothal and like rebuild a new lightsaber, or I think it'd be really cool if he got Kanan's.
I was about to say that, you motherfucker.
That right there.
Harold would probably still have it on the Ghost.
If
Yeah.
Ghost
her,
is not on the Ghost.
No,
Governor Price.
Thrawn
had it.
has it. Thrawn has it.
Yeah, I was about to say she gave it to
Oh.
Thrawn, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's
Oh,
I knew
yeah,
that.
Yeah,
baby.
he did.
I knew
Oh,
this.
okay.
Because I remember there
I got
was this
excited.
conversation was being had on Twitter a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love Ezra to be to have Kanan's lightsaber. The only thing about that is, and I'm saying legitimately the only thing is that, and this could be easily explained, is the whole like, I hate to compare it to this, but like to compare lightsaber stuff briefly to Potter and wands. Like the crystal doesn't have a specific bond with Ezra. Obviously it's his master's and he had a very close bond with Kanan. So like, obviously that can be explained away very easily, but there is that little beat where I'm like,
I mean,
Right.
I mean,
think-
we see that at play with the dark saber. It bonded better with Sabine than it did with Din, right?
Yep.
bonds better with Bo than it does with either of them as well.
Yeah.
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 I think you can make an argument there. I mean, for me, I think like the easy one is, well, it's the owner's apprentice,
And it's
I
there
don't-
already.
and it's there already. I think you can also make an argument that like I don't think it will be like at Ezra's detriment so much as it would have been to Kanan's advantage to have that one, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like in the same way that like Rey doesn't have any difficulty connecting to the Force through the Skywalker saber. So like conversely, like I don't think it'd be that big a deal. I understand what you're saying, Eli.
Yeah.
With like the power of
Yeah.
like the crystal is the heart of the blade, blah 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 blah. Tartakovsky Clone Wars
Yeah.
rules.
no, it was just something
Um,
I thought, and it would not be a big deal to me if that happened. I just
Right.
wanted to bring it up.
Yeah. Also, even if that was the case, like I feel like Ezra's like innate like bond with the Force itself, I feel like would just like I feel like between his bond with the Force and also his bond with Kanan, I feel like that would just be like, yeah, not a problem.
And absolutely, like somebody can use a lightsaber that belongs to somebody else. We know
Yeah.
that. I
Really,
was
we've
just like,
seen that for
you know,
40 years.
but there is like a specific like it again. It's like again. I hate to compare it to Potter, but again, like once anybody can use a wand, but a wand that's your perfect match can deliver the most
Yeah.
powerful magical results.
Right.
Right.
For sure. I don't know. Like I said, I like the principle of Ezra like being like, no, I don't need a lightsaber.
Yes.
That's yours. I really do, and like I don't want to undermine a huge chunk of like what makes Star Wars Star Wars. Again, Return of the Jedi is one of, if not my favorite Star Wars movies. I think that sometimes a little bit too much emphasis is placed on the fact that Luke refuses to fight the Emperor. I think that, like, I don't know if I'm going to explain this well right now. I'd like to circle back to it at some point. That Luke's act of "I refuse to fight you" is less to do with the whole like Jedi pacifism and more to do with the fact that like the Emperor's desire is violence. And I think that, one of the things I love about recent Star Wars is so much of it is about why do we fight and how do we fight and how those things are as important as what you fight for.
Again, going back to all the lessons of Rebels.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That Ezra has to learn.
As much as I love Ezra like choosing to not take up a lightsaber, it's also like he didn't like use non-lethal force. Like
absolutely.
He most of those stormtroopers, you can make an argument, got knocked out, got their shit rocked or whatever. They're sleeping, but then there's the time he like comes around and like, hey, give me your gun. Da 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 da. Like at one point he's like holding the shit sideways and shit. Like,
and then chases after them while they're retreating, continues to fire on them.
Yeah, like it's not like Ezra has like taken up this. It's not like he's being like Legends Bolter Swan. There's a deep cut for the kids at home.
Yeah.
Who famously did not take any lives during the war.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that was her whole thing, is that she refused to use lethal force, which is great and is admirable. There's also going to come a moment,
easy when you're mostly fighting droids.
And it's easy when you're mostly fighting droids. But there's also going to come a point where, like, dude, like, fucking, you're gonna, like...
Hit a motherfucker.
You're gonna have to hit a motherfucker. Like, we're fighting the space Nazis, bro. Like, they are not going to pull their fucking punches.
Bruce Wayne in this.
It's harder to be Batman in this kind of environment. And, again, as admirable as that decision is, and as much as I love Ezra's, like, kind of trust in the Force in that moment... I do hope that was more of a symbolic recognition of Sabine coming into her own and like, no, that's your sword now. That like I do
and I think
hope.
It also has the potential to. I think it also has the potential to be because I always think of the Jedi using their lightsabers in the last resort. Is like it's never that's part of their big fall in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Is that they are too readily willing to use their lightsabers. And I like the idea that like that again, like that Ezra and Jedi like him. It's like the Tales of the Jedi short and Dave's commentary that led up to that. When Dooku places his lightsaber down on the table, I can use this if I want to. I don't want to, but
Please
if
don't
I
make
need
me.
to. I can.
Jabba, this is your last chance for yes or die.
Yep.
Yep.
No, and that's my favorite. Those are some of my favorite moments.
Or even when Anakin is talking to Padme in episode 2, he said, "We then moved on to aggressive negotiations," and she says, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Negotiations with a lightsaber."
Great clip, great moment, fun line of dialogue, spoken by a fucking psychopath.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
But all of that said,
Ahsoka saying she didn't use proper Jedi protocol is like, oh, she was like, hey, bitch, tell me what's up. But like when Anakin says I didn't use Jedi protocol, like he murdered people straight up.
Ahsoka's I didn't use proper Jedi protocol is maybe she like telepathically committed a war crime by reading her mind, or violated some form of right by like telepathically breaking into her mind. When Anakin's like, the Anakin is I turned off the ray shield and then closed the door and then I choked the life out of somebody until they gave me information.
There's a thing like standard Jedi. There's like when Huyang was like standard Jedi protocol is to, and I just saw that glint in Ahsoka's eye, which I can roughly translate as boy.
Yes.
I don't.
I will do the opposite of what you will say.
I don't. I don't do standard Jedi protocol. That's not me. When have you ever known me to do that?
Right.
Well,
we've
even
been hanging
Thrawn
out
when
for how
she
long
when he
now?
even Thrawn when he found out that her master is Anakin Skywalker, just had to look up. Oh dear God, this is going to be bad if she reaches me.
Dude, that honestly,
See,
as
I
soon
thought
as
it was that again. Talk your shit, Cray.
as soon as I said it in Discord, but I was like, as soon as like Morgan Elsbeth was like, yeah, here's her file, and he looks at it and he's reading for like 3 seconds, and then he just kind of like looks up. I was like, that's right, that's who you're up against. Let's see how it pans
Yeah.
out for you, because like first of all, Ezra gives
Yeah.
you so many problems. Like combine that with Ahsoka, like you're beat, dude. Sorry about it.
And what he
What's
saw on
Sabine?
McKiv, and what he saw on McKiv in Alliances, like she learned from the guy who single-handedly took down that battle droid factory, who that was making battle droids out of cortosis, with him and Padme in tow, and he's like, oh shit, it's his student. No, god damn it.
But also all of the
Yeah,
years.
he's not going back to the galaxy to invade. He's now going back to the galaxy to get away from her.
Right.
It can be both too. It can be both.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, one of those wonderful things about these episodes is like how we can read layers upon moments like that.
Yeah.
So, like whether it would be, Ezra
Range
not
from
taking
so
the lightsaber
serious to
back,
hilarious.
or Thrawn learning about Ahsoka. Like there's layers and layers and layers to these moments, and I love that.
I know a lot of people were last week were like, "Oh, Dave Filoni, Thrawn alliances." I do kind of love the idea that like that was Thrawn's moment of, I remember him talking about that. Fuck.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
I really do that. Like that was the moment. It literally jogged Thrawn's memory because it's been like 30 fucking years.
Mhm.
Also, he knew that he was Vader, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
He knew
he
that
So
he
like,
was
not
Vader.
only is he like, oh, Anakin, he's also like, oh, I worked with this dude,
Vader.
and this dude,
Yeah.
this dude's crazy.
Yeah, and I love that. I do sincerely love that. Like Thrawn, because Thrawn keeps it cool, but like you listen to like Thrawn's like directions as a leader, it's like just let her come to us, because throwing resources at her is a bad idea. Let her make herself available so that we can counterpunch, and just kind of let her spin her wheels. Because if we come to her, like her reprisal will get closer to us.
Mm-hmm.
If we just kind of let her do her thing while we do our thing, we'll be fine.
And again, he continued to say that their goal is to get to the other galaxy. Like, killing the Jedi is a bonus, but it's not the main goal.
No.
Yeah, Thrawn's tactical mind is fantastically equivalent to what we saw in Rebels, where it's always about playing the long game. It's never it is always about, we can let them have their small victories. That's literally something he says at the end of Steps of Shadow, the premiere of Season 3. We'll let them have their small victory. Let them think they've won, so that we can strike back 5 times, 10 times more furious later. So that we don't have to
see that here.
Yeah.
Yep, you even see that here. Like Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka are celebrating their reunion, and Thrawn File says, "This bought us the time we needed to get everything on the ship.
Yeah,
we can go now."
To lose. I am scared. I mean, I definitely think that next week we're going to see Thrawn leave them all behind.
Oh yeah, I think that Thrawn is going to leave, and
guaranteed.
I think he's going to fuck up some shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to. I think honestly, more than anything personal, more than any personal losses, I think we're going to see like the first true Imperial attack in the galaxy, like successful in over 5 years.
I think we did.
I think he's going to go to Lothal first, just to make it personal.
But I also think that he's going to fuck up Coruscant, like, because that's where you're going to hurt the New Republic, right? Like
Coruscant, Lothal,
Chancellor Mothma. A Star Destroyer has hit 500 Republica.
Gee, was Mama just looking at Hamato, just going like, "Gee, we should have listened to them, shouldn't we have?"
And he doesn't need to fuck up Mandalore. Mandalore's already dealt with, so he doesn't have to deal with that, right? Like Mandalore's already dealt with.
I do, as much as I don't want to wish harm on Lothal, I do think like how unguarded it is. Like for him to show up and be like, "Hey, remember me?"
Nice rebuilding you got there.
Yeah, be ashamed.
Like I feel like
shame.
Be ashamed.
Yeah, I feel like if Thrawn ever
orbital bombardment, fuck y'all.
Yeah, if Thrawn wanted to get something personal done, because that was the site of his biggest defeat, it would be he would want to start there and fix the mistake that happened.
Yeah, like y'all again. It's this whole show is people who are like, I'm not going to lose it the same way twice, and I love the idea. I again, it hurts. It hurts a lot, but the idea that they like show us how beautiful Lothal looks right now in the very beginning, so that it
how prosperous it's become.
Yeah, for Thrawn to just be like, fuck you chicken strips and just call in an orbital bombardment and just lay waste to the whole fucking city.
Here's another one that would also hurt that I was thinking of earlier tonight. And again, they'd have to do this well, and it would hurt a lot of people. I understand this. But I could see like Thrawn doing like a range of attacks all across the galaxy. And what if one of them decimated a major New Republic military base on the planet of Adelphi? Everyone on the Adelphi base died.
I will hurt you.
Including...
Nope, don't finish that statement.
No.
Don't you dare finish that statement.
Someone mute him.
Nope. No, sir.
Okay, let me just say,
you're evil.
I don't think Thrawn has the juice to do like a multi-fronted assault coming out of hyperspace. So I think if anything, his first moment of dick swinging will likely be on Lothal.
Yeah.
But
what about the Imperial Remnant though?
Next season, that's the thing is it's all like rumors of Thrawn coming back. I think Thrawn
has to bring it all together.
Yeah, but I think what Thrawn will do is like that will be his grand like reappearance.
His entrance. I got you.
Yeah, just be like, hey, I lived, bitch. Fucking turn Lothal into glass right now.
Of his symphony, which is a very tying into the artistic design of how Thrawn does things.
Yeah,
it'll be a grand opening burst.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna fuck up Lothal because it's personal now, and I want y'all to know, like, I'm here for all of it. I am here
destroyed
to take
my
over.
Fucking TIE Defender factory.
Yeah, I'm going to glass this city. But once Thrawn is able to get the remnant together, I could totally see like a multi-pronged, like we're gonna hit all of these New Republic outposts at once. Like,
including Corellia.
Corellia, Adelphi. Like it would make it. Well, no, I don't think you make a blitz for Coruscant yet. I don't think Thrawn is so bold that like he's like. I think a battle of Coruscant is going to be part of Dave's movie. Honestly, I think a war for the capital, like a ground battle, a ground and air battle for space battle for Coruscant.
Like a live action version of the Tartakovsky Clone Wars finale.
Yeah. Labyrinth of Evil.
I'm now just thinking about like I know this is not going to happen, but wouldn't it be great if the final battle was not on like Coruscant obviously is a part of it, but wouldn't it be great? And this is just the Legends nerd in me saying this. But if the final battle was at Bilbringy, like it was in the Thrawn trilogy,
I would love that. Honestly,
I think
bring some of those elements in. Yeah, it'd be great.
I think you could pitch that, and I think there's a way to do that. I don't think Thrawn or the Imperial Remnant is going to take a swing at Coruscant until like they're fully ready. But I think part of getting there is there are these New Republic outposts with like big fucking hitters on them, and the idea of Thrawn launching this like this attack at multiple locations at once would show that just because it's the Imperial Remnant and there aren't any Star Destroyers or Death Stars or Super Star Destroyers, any of these like crazy super weapons around, like they still have the military might and the war machine to pull some shit off. You also could create a situation where, again, either Zeb dies or you fucking kill Carson. You know, like, or you have Thrawn.
Or this is where they kill off Cara Dune.
Again, Dave Filoni has the option to do something deeply funny.
Or you make us really hurt, and you bring Alexander Callis into live action, and you blow that guy up.
That's homophobic, sir. That's a homophobic statement. I need you to take
How dare you kill Zeb's husband?
Well, no, but seriously, I think here's the thing. I don't think you kill Zeb and Carson. I think you kill one or the other.
Yeah.
I think you let one of them like survive.
Although I will say that if Carson dies, Ezra's not going to care. He's going to be like, nope.
Yeah.
Well, it's not all about
I
Ezra.
actually think
it's not just I think the audience though. That's
the audience.
I think Carson. I think Carson's actually more like in more danger than Zeb is. Actually, I think.
Yeah.
They would be more likely to kill Carson.
I have to wonder if Zeb is aware of what's happening. Like if Harris told him, "Hey, so we may have found Ezra."
I think she's waiting. I think she'd be a good mom.
Yeah,
we're not going to say it until we know for sure.
She's gonna just let him vibe, okay? You know, that's what he's gonna.
Because he'd come running as soon as he hears.
Oh,
I gotta head out. So
yeah, no, that's okay. Because we're gonna be wrapping this up anyway.
Okay.
I have one final thing, by the way, that I just realized that that with the return of Thrawn to the known galaxy, which is Lars Mikkelsen and Xander Berkeley standing side by side as
Grand
Admiral Thrawn and Gilad Pellaeon.
Yeah, that'd be really awesome.
We're going to get to see that. That's going to be so fucking surreal.
It's a different relationship. I'm excited to see it. Yes. All right.
Yes. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. So long. See you next week.
See y'all later. Keep tabs on the Nerd Academy Twitter when I'll actually know what the fuck we're doing for an episode this week.
It's been a pleasure, guys.
You posted.
Sorry. I'm not going to be on the stream next week because I'm going to be on. Because I'm saving my stuff for the Bombad cast later in the week because I'm going to be on that show.
The Bombad cast?
I like people who win at trivia.
I like commissioners who don't rig matches. Anyway, here, wait, what do we got? Cool. Anyway, that time I kicked him. But yeah, everybody have a good night, and you'll hear from us later this week. May the force be with you always.
Stop!